Yeah, I grew up in Beechworth, was pretty much raised here from birth. After high school, I picked up some work at a local winery at Sorenberg Winery and Vineyard, and then decided to get into viticulture and winemaking, and chose a uni course to take me into that field. Was keen to travel like most people are after university. So I think it was the second season I was living in Austria. I met Maria.
That was back in, it's a long time ago, 2001 in Austria. So I worked in the ski fields in Austria, and yeah, Ben cleaned the table where I was drinking, so he was the glass boy, and yeah, that's where I met him.
She travelled back to Australia with me, and I did a wine vintage in Western Australia in the Margaret River region. And sort of during the time in WA, I'd seen some really good craft breweries.
The Bootleg Brewery, and what was the other one called? Called Warramap, I think. And he said, wow, that's a great idea, I like that. And he said that would work well in Beechworth, my hometown.
I'd experienced some great beers in Europe and was rather disappointed every time I came home and drank the beer that I'd drunk so much of in university, and then now realised that, you know, it wasn't what I thought it was. So it was just thinking, okay, let's add an offering that's just like a winery, that has a cellar door, and that people can view some of the production and sample and buy some takeaway products. So I had to convince Maria to come back with me from Europe and set up the brewery.
I was very young when I came here, and my English wasn't great, so I thought Beechworth would be on the beach, like beach, but yeah, I've been here now for 12 years, and yeah, it's home now, you know, I really love it here, yeah.
I was lucky enough that my parents offered me their garage to set up the brewery. I found some equipment. A lot of what I did was learn as you go, and we're still learning as we go now, and continue to develop recipes and processes and practices. Yeah,
at the start it was a few batches sort of, you know, had to go down the drain. The cows got some beer, and I remember one day they couldn't stand up because they had too much beer, you know. It was pretty funny.
The concept was quite new to most people because it was in a garage and everything was on view, and it's such small scale. I think it was quite intriguing. We quickly gained some regular drinkers because we had a bar on site. People would come in and sit down and have a drink. We're also on the way to the local rubbish dump. So we found lots of gentlemen who would stop in quickly on their way to do when they were doing their home duties of cleaning the gardens and taking the rubbish out, and they would sit down for 5 minutes, have a beer, and then continue on their way to the rubbish dump.
People in Beechworth are great, like there's lots of great wineries, we've got headed restaurants in town, so we already got that crowd, you know, which appreciates good produce.
The one strength or point of difference that we can always have is flavour. So we try to keep a focus on having flavour in our products and good flavours. We have a massive range of beers. I think if any business-minded person came into the business and looked at what we do, they'd be asking some heavy questions about, you know, why have you got all this stock? Why do you have all these beers?
The Pale Ale, the Golden Ale, the Celtic, the Porter, and the wheat beer, so that's sort of the basic range, but then they do lots of other beers because they want to have fun, they want to be creative, and yeah, we've got a few brewers now, and I think it's nice that they all get a turn, they get their ideas in. It's also to do with the season, you know, like we made a beer with elderflowers, you know, they are out at the moment, so that's great, or the harvest beer made with locally hops. We grow our own hops on the balcony.
If something pops into our head and we want to make it next week, we can just do it. You know, we don't have to ask anyone, hey, can we release this beer? We'll just make it, and then we'll panic in a month because we don't have labels for it and it's time to bottle it and all those sorts of things. But, you know, there's flexibility and we can trial something and see how it comes out.
We get a mixture of a crowd and lots of families. The kids have a play and eat a pretzel. The parents are happy, have their beer and pizza.
In some regards, starting a brewery in a small regional town such as Beechworth could force our hand to perhaps be more conservative with making our beer. We've probably gone the other way and pushed the community towards drinking more craft beer and being open to trying new flavours and perhaps rejecting what their preconception of beer was. I think that happens wherever a craft brewery exists. The local community gets on board, realises that there's a whole new world out there of beer, and they begin to change. So lots of customers that visit here will say, oh, I'm from this place and we've got our brewery, so it's great to come in and check out another brewery, and I'm sure that's happening all around the country.